Hey Brazil! Estamos aqui com Ben Lamm, da Colossal. O João vai conduzir essa entrevista com o Ben.
Ben, thank you for having us. We are a huge fan of your work, what you're doing. We've been in Austin looking and following what you do. I'm not a scientist, so...
I'm not a scientist either, so I just get to work with much smarter scientists and people than me, which is great.
For everybody that just bringing up this kind of subject, what are you guys doing in one phrase so people can understand the potential of the idea?
So we are using ancient DNA and genetic engineering to de-extinct species as well as build technologies for conservation. And we open source everything that we develop for conservation for free.
But open source, like... everyone can...
Anybody can use our tools and technologies. Earlier, or late last year, we actually started the Colossal Foundation. So we actually, in addition to open sourcing our technologies that anyone can use, we're also funding projects of people using our tools as well as developing new tools for conservation.
But first things first, you guys just brought back the
dire wolf,
the dire wolf that we saw in the conversation we had before.
Yep.
Tell us about the Romulus and that the kind of the experience that you have and the importance that is.
Yeah, the dire wolf represents a world's first for de-extinction, right? The ability to take ancient DNA. In the case of the dire wolf, it was a 72,000-year-old skull, a 13,000-year-old tooth, and do computational analysis to understand what has been conserved over 60,000 years. So what genes really made a dire wolf, and then engineering those genes into its closest living relative, which is about 99.5% the same, which is a gray wolf, so that we could birth the world's first dire wolves, right? And so for us, it's like the moon landing for conservation and the moon landing for genetics, right? No one had ever brought back an extinct species before the dire wolf. So it's a monumental achievement, both technologically and for humanity. But the other thing that sometimes didn't get all the headlines is we actually used one of the technologies that we developed to actually make 4 red wolves. And the most endangered wolf in the world is actually the American red wolf. There's only 15 of them left in the wild. So we actually cloned 4 red wolves using these same technologies that we used to bring back the dire wolves.
And why for us humans is so important to bring back those species?
Well, when you bring back an extinct species, it's a systems model, right? So it helps us think through all of the challenges to build this de-extinction toolkit. And while this sounds a little sad, it looks like the current trend line is we could lose half of biodiversity between now and 2050 if we're not careful. So while it's better to actually save species and conserve land and do what we've been doing for the last 100 years with conservation, it's not moving fast enough. So we need new tools and technologies to help save species and bring back species, because there may be a world where we actually have to bring back some of these species, not just dire wolves and mammoths, but some of the species of today if we lose them tomorrow.
By now, people are thinking, obviously, in Jurassic Park, and obviously, you guys have been in the spotlights. And in what part this is science fiction or science reality?
Yeah, it's fun to take science fiction. Like, science fiction does this thing where it kind of inspires people, gets people really, really excited, but then also, paves a potential forward. Sometimes that's positive, like in things like Star Trek and others. Sometimes it's more dystopian, like in the ways of movies like Jurassic Park, which we get that question quite a bit. Yeah. But fundamentally, what's pretty interesting is science fiction kind of, helps us think through what could be and helps us think about what shouldn't be. And in the case of Jurassic Park, we learned so many things about like DNA, that there's this thing called DNA, that there's all these little letters that we can actually change and humans can manipulate. And so while Jurassic Park was a dystopian movie, we as the world learned from the movie, and it actually taught people about DNA, right? And it taught people about the power of genetic engineering. So I think that Jurassic Park, outside of entertaining us, it actually did a really huge service to the world by helping us to like educate the world that there is this thing called genetic engineering, there is this thing called DNA, and we can now harness it.
Okay. Obviously, we are talking from Brazil, and Brazil has a huge potential in Amazonia that has been a abrasive history along the way, and a lot of species are gone. How can Brazil get involved in this?
I mean, we would love to work with Brazil. We're very collaborative. You know, in addition to open sourcing our technologies for conservation, we're very, very passionate about biobanking. And how can we go and take samples from multiple species, specifically critically endangered species, so that we can put them on ice effectively, so we can preserve them. And it's not about just taking one little tissue sample. It's about taking a lot of different tissue samples and understanding population genetics, so we understand the diversity in a population of species. So we would love to work with Brazil on biobanking some of its most critically endangered or most keystone species, as well as helping them do genetic maps to understand biodiversity, just so that we can take an inventory together of what's there.
So Brazil, just
reach out. I mean, we'd love to collaborate with folks in Brazil.
Great. Where Colossal and you will be in 10 years from now?
I mean, I think hopefully in 10 years from now, we brought back other species like the mammoth and dodo and thylacine. Hopefully we've successfully rewilded them back into their natural habitats in collaboration with governments, indigenous people groups, and private landowners and whatnot. But then hopefully that these technologies have also helped proliferate into the conservation community, and they're being used every single day to help save species.
Great. I have just one more question.
Go for it.
Where do you get your t-shirts?
We don't sell our t-shirts. We make them. We just don't sell them. We you know, the scientists at Colossal they devote their lives to this, right? So we try to make the best apparel that we can. But I'll tell you what, if you tell our team, we'll send you some. Just give us like sizes and address, and we're happy to send you some. But we don't sell them. We'll happily give them to you.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us and talk about your project. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys do well.
Awesome. I really appreciate it.